We did promise that it would be a very, very special day, and I think it's been made a little extra special with a few surprises thrown in as well, as we'd expect from our very own Bharat Raman. A big welcome to the coach, Stephen Fleming, to the entire squad that will always continue to pour themselves in. Mike Hussey in the house as well. We've always talked about the culture of CSK, and I think a lot of that comes out in Leo, the Untold Story, but we will dive in a little bit further. We're just waiting for a couple of minutes and we'll get things underway. Thank you.
May I request everybody to please be seated? Yeah. Yeah. Please, may I now request the presenter for the evening, our own Suhail, to please come up and take over the... I think both Anirudh and Ashwin are just coming in for a... Just take out 2 minutes for them. Bambi.
All right, I think we can get things underway. A big welcome to Anirudh Ravichandar as well, who's just walked into the house. Thanks, Ani, for being here, and welcome. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to what is said to be a very, very special day. I think a very special occasion for everyone from the cricketing fraternity and beyond as well. I'm Suhail Chandok, and I welcome you to the launch of Leo, the untold story of the Chennai Super Kings. As a Chennai boy, for me, and personally going back with the family as well. It's a very, very special occasion to be here, to see this story unfold through the eyes and through the lens of a man who's seen it in various capacities as well. And I think a man who can do it justice with the pen in his hand too. And I think, as someone who has lived and breathed CSK, it is really, really apt that he's managed to stitch this together and bring a wonderful room of like-minded individuals who share that passion today as well. Now, there are some books that inform, some books that entertain, and there are some books that just make you feel. And I think this book, and thank you for sending me an advance copy, does all three. And it's very, very special to read about Leo, the untold story of the Chennai Super Kings. This book is pretty much what CSK is to many of us, which is more than just a cricket team. It's an emotion, it's a legacy, it's a symbol of resilience, it is home in many ways, and it's about unwavering belief. So today, in this book, we celebrate that legacy through the words of a man who's lived and breathed cricket for decades, through those various lenses I spoke of earlier. And he's taken us in this book through a very intimate journey with the Chennai Super Kings in a fascinating read. We're also honored to have with us some incredible personalities from the world of cricket, entertainment, and sports administration. So while I have the privilege of guiding you through proceedings, I'd like a massive round of applause, firstly, for a stalwart of the game, Mr. C.D. Gopinath. You can please, sir, join us up on stage.
Start the whistles.
We also have the musical phenom Anirudh Ravichandar. Ani, welcome. The ever-entertaining Krishnamachari Srikant, who's got us going on time as well, by the way. And the wizard Ravichandar Ashwin, who will join us. And of course, our author himself, Mr. P.S. Raman, fondly known to all of us as Bharat Raman. Now, we will get Ash joining us soon enough, but it's therefore time to introduce our main man of the day, and Mr. N. Srinivasan, shaping cricket administration in the state. But beyond his legal and administrative credentials, he is at heart, like many of us are, a true cricket enthusiast. A university-level cricketer himself, where he walked out to bat alongside the late, great V.B. Chandrasekhar, a mentor of mine as well, and we've had several conversations about the man, and his journey with CSK is nicely written about in the book as well. But Bharat Raman's deep-rooted love for the game and his ability to weave compelling narratives make this book an absolute must-read. As he puts it in the book, CSK was never just about winning trophies. It was about building a legacy. From day one, the philosophy...
Distinguished guests on the dais and in front of me, good morning and a hearty welcome to all of you. At the outset, I extend my grateful thanks to every one of you here for having taken off on a Sunday morning to honor my invitation for the launch function of my second writing exercise, Leo, the Untold Story of Chennai Super Kings. My choice of the chief guests as well as the presenter was with some considerable forethought, as each one of them means more to me than just their remarkable individual achievements. To start with, Mr. C.D. Gopinath, or Gopi Uncle as I've always called him, is Tamil Nadu's and possibly India's oldest surviving test cricketer. In fact, deviating from my test, why I chose this photograph is here Gopi Uncle came as a chief guest for an annual cricket match which we have called the Chief Justice's 11 versus the Advocate General's 11. And what Gopi Uncle is wearing there is the 1952 jersey of the Indian team, the jacket of the Indian team. You'll find it England 1952 written there. What is equally relevant for his readily agreeing to launch my book is a far more personal reason. Gopi uncle's father, late Dorakandu Mudaliar, and my grandfather, late A.V. Raman, were friends from the 1920s. The family bonds have continued through 5 generations with his great-grandchildren and my grandchildren. And aside, Gopi uncle's mother and my grandmother used to play tennis together in the 30s and 40s wearing madisare in what was then called the Mylapore Ladies Club, which has now become the famous Vidya Mandir High School in Luschurch Road. Thank you, Gopi uncle, for doing me the honors. Welcome, Ash. My childhood friend, Krish Srikanth, or Chika, as we all call him, likewise needs no introduction. Chika and I played school cricket for our alma mater Vidya Mandir. With his quintessential batting style, he is clearly the state's star, not just for being a member of the World Cup winning Kapil's Devils, but also for his own down-to-earth speaking style and inimitable humor. Today, I am sure Chika will regale you all while talking about Ravi Ashwin, as well as pull my leg, firstly throughout by calling me Hobber, which was my pet name in school. Who else than Chika can have the credentials to felicitate Tamil Nadu's most successful and India's second most successful bowling wizard, Ravi Ashwin? Coming to Ash, we first met when he was playing cricket for Tamil Nadu in the Ranji Trophy in the early 2000s, when I was actively involved in the administration of TNCA. I have watched him grow with increasing admiration, and the bond of friendship blossomed during the period when we were together in IPL Season 2 at South Africa in 2009. Despite his busy training schedule, having returned to his base camp, CSK, without hesitation, he accepted to be here. Thank you, Ash. I wish you all the very best, not only on your retirement, as well as your continued journey wearing the yellow colors. Coming to my choice of the person to receive the first copy of the book, my young friend Anirudh became an automatic choice, not just because he is one of India's foremost music composers, but also because he is an unabashed fan of CSK and an avid follower of IPL. Indeed, he has even made some tune in this regard, I am told, subject to correction. But above all else, for me, it is special to have Ani here, not just because he is the son of my close friends Amu and Ravi, and I have known him from his childhood, but more recently, Anirudh has become the first South Indian musician to reach an enormous milestone of 10 billion streams across all credits on Spotify. What better way can I honor my young friend than by having him on stage for this function? Finally, a word about our presenter before I delve into the book. Suhail shares another common element with Gopi uncle. Just like Dorakandu Mudaliar's family, the Raman family and the Chandok family too go back 5 generations. Yes, Suhail's great-grandfather Inder Sen Chandok and my grandfather A.V. Raman were friends since the Chandoks moved to Chennai in the late 1920s, early 1930s. Suhail's grandfather Indu uncle, whom we all loved and lost recently, and my late father V.P. Raman were classmates from lower kindergarten to school final as the last outgoing batch of the then co-education Church Park Convent. Suhail's entry into sports broadcasting is as spectacular and successful as his elder brother Karun's entry into Formula One racing and now as a commentator. Suhail has handled the pre and post IPL match discussion panels with aplomb in the last few years, and he brings to our stage a rare experience on cricket broadcasting with particular reference to the Indian Premier League. Thank you, Suhail, for accepting my invitation without the slightest hesitation. Before talking about my book, I would like to recognize the presence here of my hero, our hero, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. When I met Mahibai in the Chapok day before yesterday night and told him I would like you to be here, he said 90%. In my mind, I said, okay, if he says 90, it's always 100. Thank you, Mahi. Thank you, my dear friends from CSK, my old friends. All of you have responded to my invitation. I'll also like to recognize the presence here of my good friend, my close friend from BCCI days, Brijesh Patel, former Indian Test cricketer. And since I also wear another cap of the Advocate General of the state, I need to recognize the presence of the Director General of Police, Mr. Sankar Jiwal. Our constituency Member of Parliament, Dayanidhi Maran. All my additional Advocate Generals who have come down, as well as all my friends, every one of you, it's been a very, very special thing having you all here. After I released my first attempt as an author, the biography of my father, named The Man Who Would Not Be King, in June 2022, as I have mentioned in this book, many of my friends and well-wishers were prodding me to continue writing. Some ambitiously suggested fiction, for which I sadly do not have the creativity nor the imagination. Some others suggested an autobiography, something I believe I still need to live up to. But the writing bug was eating me. Soon after one of the World Cup T20 matches, which my wife and I were watching in Kodaikanal, I woke up in the middle of the night, filled with fleeting memories of several moments of my journey with Chennai Super Kings. And I thought to myself, why not write a book on this, my favorite cricket team? When I brought up this idea with my dear friend, Mr. N. Srinivasan, he immediately responded positively, and thus began this journey to Leo, the untold story of CSK. This book has been dedicated by me to him, and I would like to share that part of the book today. He is unfortunately not with us in the venue, but I'm sure all his thoughts are. I'm reading the dedication. This book, nay, the very thoughts and sentiments attached to this book, are dedicated to Narayan Swami Srinivasan, popularly known as NS or Chini to his host of friends. To his host of admirers in Tamil Nadu, he will be Srini Mama. To me, he will always be Mr. President. Apart from being a proficient sports person with skills in both tennis and golf and a club-level cricketer, NS is arguably one of the greatest sports administrators ever. His tenure as president of BCCI saw the state body grow from strength to strength, while his tenure as president of BCCI will forever be remembered and cherished by all present and past cricket players for ensuring their financial security. As the first elected chairman of the ICC, he ensured that India got its rightful recognition as the world's leading cricket playing nation. He led India Cements, a company co-founded by his father, late T.S. Narayanasamy, for several decades, during which period he was the torchbearer of the Indian cement industry. Most of all, he epitomizes the spirit of never losing hope and the importance of fighting a fair battle even in the most adverse circumstances. I have learned much from being up close and personal, and can confess that he is my elder brother, philosopher, and guide. As a person, I am yet to meet a more generous heart. Like Karna in Mahabharata, to quote in Tamil, a language which he cherishes as well, Koduthu Koduthu Sivandana Karangal, meaning the arms have turned scarlet with giving, and all this done without any song or dance. As is said of most great personalities, after God made him, he destroyed the mold. Yes, to me, there is no one to replace him in the vicinity. I pray for his continued presence and patronage for cricket and for humanity. You will always be my president forever, Chini. The choice of Leo as the title is because the star sign of Leo is lion, and it's represented by its element fire. When you combine lion and fire, you get CSK. That's the logo. The book begins with how BCCI got the broadcast rights of its events in 1993 courtesy the judgment of the Supreme Court in the case of the Cricket Association of Bengal, the advent of white ball cricket with the ODI format, the colored playing uniforms, and the natural move towards T20 are discussed. The birth of Indian Premier League and the bidding for the 8 franchises leading to the Chennai franchise being brought by India Cements sets the pace for the rest of the book. Having been closely associated with the franchise since its inception in 2008, I have also dealt with how the team was formed, nurtured by the owners, and the initial layers of building the team spirit for which CSK is today well known. The move to South Africa in the second year, namely 2009, has also been discussed because my wife Padmini and I had the pleasure of being with the team for close to a month in May. This book also has 2 chapters relating to the so-called IPL betting scandal, the commissions appointed by the courts, the ultimate judgment leading to what I believe, and I have written it so, the unjustified suspension of the team for 2016 and 17. The book then captures the resilience of its owners, the unflappable man wearing the number 7 jersey, and the rest of the team and its wonderful support staff forms the last part of the book, aptly called The Phoenix Rises, in allusion to the mythical bird which can never be destroyed and always rises to conquer. I completed the book this is the 2018 winning. I completed this book in 2023, ending with the last ball boundary of Ravi Jadeja in Ahmedabad against the Gujarat Titans. However, in the post-match development, MS Dhoni announced, much to the happiness of his millions of fans, that he will continue next season. There was a unanimous request from everyone, that my well-wishers, to include 2024 into the book, and so I waited and did the needful by June of last year. I had initially called the ending chapter as Sunset at Kurukshetra in allusion to the retirement of Tala. As it happened, he announced to great cheers from across the world after the CSK game against RCB at Bangalore that he would always play his last game in yellow only at Chapak. I decided at that point that I would not wait for the leader's retirement but would release my book this year itself. With the blessings of the Almighty, I am sure Mahi will continue to don the number 7 jersey for several more years. One of the highlights of this book is as in my previous one, are the photographs. In this case, I was blessed to get the benefit of the access to the CSK archives, and some vintage moments of IPL have been added with high-resolution pictures. My favorite one will always remain the one capturing Dhoni. This is a beautiful high-resolution picture taken, and in the book it comes out so brilliantly. The other 2 highlights of the book are the foreword penned by my dear friend and former CSK hero Matthew Hayden, and the postscript called The Lion's Talk, containing lovely snippets as exclusive quotes of the present and past players of CSK. This book is released in 3 formats. The hardcover with full-color pictures called the Superfan Edition will be the premium edition. There is also the paperback in black and white and the electronic book as well. Before I conclude, since my hero is here, I want to read the last paragraph of the book alone. I named this final chapter, It's Raining Sixes, followed by Sunset at Kurukshetra. I was proved correct on the former, but not in the latter. Statistics show that in IPL 2024, a grand total of 1,266 were struck, the highest ever. The sun, however, did not set as this book goes into print. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, much like Bhishma in the Mahabharata, epitomizes every virtue a person should have as a leader and a warrior. He makes people grow under him, much like a banyan tree. In the last few seasons since he retired from international cricket, in almost every IPL game, both before the toss and after the match is over, one can see Dhoni standing surrounded by a group of young cricketers from the opposing team. They lap up every word from his master's voice, imbibing his advice as they step forward in their own careers. There are several numerous products of this tutelage, and I dare say there will be several more in the years to come. All the speculation on Dhoni's continuance with CSK in 2025 have been laid to rest. BCCI announced a new retention policy for IPL season 20, with each team being retained 4, and he has been retained by the CSK management ahead of the schedule. So he will be seen once again in Chepauk. To quote a Latin maxim, carpe diem, seize the day. So let's rejoice and savor the triumph of CSK and thank Providence that we were there to celebrate the arrival of the new format of the game. Hopefully, we will be there for the last bow of the phenomenon called MS Dhoni. But for now, sun is not going to set in Kurukshetra till it does, and ever after. Whistle potu. I must finally place on record my sincere appreciation of my editor Sandhya and my publisher's Notion for everything done. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you for that, Bharat Uncle. I think we're all eagerly awaiting reading more and more of that book. It's also now time to officially launch the book. As Bharat Raman said, we're privileged to have an absolute stalwart of the game, a test cricketer, part of India's first ever test series victory way back in 51 and 52, a true statesman of the game who represents the rich cricketing heritage of Tamil Nadu as well, and India's oldest living test cricketer. Please put your hands together for C.D. Gopinath to launch this book. A huge round of applause. And now the first copy of the book presented to the man, as we heard earlier, whose music has defined a generation and made millions of CSK fans whistle put to his tunes as well. A musical sensation, the heartbeat of modern Tamil music. Ani, may I please request you to say a few words having received the first copy.
A very good morning to all the distinguished guests here. To be very honest, I'm not a morning person, so firstly, I feel like a student who's been called up on stage in front of legends to say a few words, so please forgive me if I make any mistakes or say something out of context. But first, very happy to be here, proud moment to be in front of Gopinath sir. Thank you, sir, for gracing the occasion. Chika uncle is family and he's been a well-wisher, and his blessings are always with me. He always, if I reach for the sky, he makes me reach further than that with his kind words. So thank you. Happy to see you here. Ashwin, he's a senior of mine in school. He hates that I say that all the time. But we're from the same school, and thank you for making the country proud. Just like all the other Indians. Even I felt really bad when you announced your retirement. Thank you. And of course, Suhail, thank you as always for putting this show together and presenting it so wonderfully. Coming to Bharat Uncle, I think, and of course, last but not the least, a pleasant surprise, I'm sure, for everybody just like me to see MS sir here. So, can we hear it one more time for him? Bharat Uncle, I must say, from the time I was born, I've not met a person who's more positive than him all the time. And he always used to encourage me even before I started making music, when he even knew that, you know, when we used to have family get-togethers and functions, I used to take the small Casio and keyboard and just go around. You know, when your parents want to show the others that you can play an instrument, they always put you in front of all their friends. And whenever I used to do that, he used to always encourage me more than what my talent was. And I love him from that day on. A wonderful thing about him is you can never see him not smiling. He's always smiling, and that positivity and radiation really, you know, it rubs off on all of us all the time. During school, my elder sister, who is in London now, was working as an understudy to him. She used to be a lawyer here. So I used to pick her up and drop her every day. And till date, there's not a day when I meet her when she doesn't talk about him or when she doesn't miss him, and I always convey that to him as well. So I'll see him there in the office. He'll be working like 24 hours. Suddenly I'll turn on the TV, I'll go home and he'll be at the match for CSK. So I know how much cricket means to him. I know how much this team means to him. And Uncle, just like everybody here who's assembled, I love you so much. Congratulations. This is your second book. I don't know where you find the time to do this, but because it's about CSK, I'm sure this is going to fly. And I request everybody watching this anywhere in the world to buy a copy, because these points are from the heart. Whatever is in this book is from the heart of a man who loves this team, who loves the sport, and of course, loves all of us and CSK together. So I just want to say thank you, Uncle. And last but not the least, we love you, but obviously a big round of applause for the pillars of support behind Bharat Uncle, Paddy Auntie, Gautam, and Geets. Thank you. Wonderful to be here amidst all the legends. Have a great day. Please buy a copy of Leo, The Untold Story, and enjoy it. Thank you. And all the best to CSK for the season ahead. Whistle Border. Thank you.
Thanks for those great words, Ani. We'd like to now hear a few words from our chief guest, the legendary Mr. C.D. Gopinath. If you could please say a few words to address the gathering.
Okay, hello. Good evening, everybody. I'm not going to say very much about the Chennai Super Kings or the book, because when you read the book, everything there is to be said is already in that book, I'm sure. So it's not for me really to add anything more. I'm sure my good friend has written all that's worth knowing about Chennai Super Kings, so I'm not going to talk much about that. But I thought perhaps at this audience, I should mention on how this format of 20 overs was ever evolved, how or why it was found to benefit the game that this game evolved. As we all know, cricket was by and large a game from England, played over some centuries. And the format was somewhat similar like our own here, which is, for us here in India, we have all the states, and the Ranji Trophy is our local tournament. That's the first class tournament in our country. Similarly, in England, it's the county cricket clubs that were formed to play, and matches were played between one county and the other right through the cricket season. The cricket season was stretched right round from April to September, and every county played every other county, and cricket there was played 6 days a week. This is one of our big problems when I first went with the Indian team to England. We are never used to playing 6 days a week. And they played 6 days a week for 6 months almost. And that was their first class cricket. And the counties were somewhat like our states, much smaller. And every household in that county was a member of the local cricket club. When I say local, it might be the Surrey Cricket Club or the Essex Cricket Club or whatever it might be. Virtually the entire town and whatever formed that county were members of the club. And it was very much of like a family affair those days. I'm talking of very early days before anybody here was born. The wives of players, the wives of the club members would be the ones who would make the lunch and the tea and serve it during the matches. And it was very much of a community effort, and it used to work very well. But as the world moved, life was getting a little faster and a little busier, and you wanted more excitement, and you wanted it quickly. That's how human tendencies started moving. And I'm sure you'll all agree, cricket is somewhat of a slow game. When you're talking of cricket, you talk of test cricket or even Ranji Trophy or county cricket. It goes on for 3 days or 5 days. And at the end of 5 days, you might end up and say, this is a drawn match. So it's a feeling that you spend 5 days for nothing. So people are getting a bit fed up with that. They wanted action. They wanted it, and they wanted it quick. And cricket really, at that time, in that format, didn't provide what the people wanted, the spectator wanted. And it so happened just about that time, soccer came into the picture in England. And as you all know, soccer is a fast game, very exciting, lasts only a couple of hours. And most of the time there is a decision and everybody is very happy because the pace at which it's played, unlike cricket. And slowly the public, the spectators, started moving from cricket to soccer. They enjoyed the pace of the game, and that suited the climate of the times. And somewhere around the late 60s, early 70s of the last century, the county clubs were all going broke. The revenues were not coming. Spectators started moving away for football, and they were facing financial problems in running the county cricket. So this is when they all got together and said, what do we do? And they had to draw the public or retrieve the public from soccer, football. So they all got together and said the only way of doing this is to make cricket a little faster, and where there's more action, and that is when your 2020 got evolved. And the great advantage in that for soccer was that it's played in the evenings after 6 o'clock. And as you all know, in England, there's light till about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And that's one of the reasons. And when a game starts after 6 o'clock, the school children, the office-going people, everybody have finished their day's work, and they are back, and they all could attend that. So that is what the counties decided. The only way of getting back our support was to provide games after 6 o'clock, when schools were finished, offices were finished, and the people could come back. So that is how the idea of a 20-20 game, and that would start only after 6 o'clock. And the light being there till 10:30 or 11, you could get a positive result within those 4 or 5 hours. And I must say, it was a very wise decision, in the sense they were able to retrieve their support from the public, and people started flocking back to cricket. And that's the way the 2020 first started. Frankly, when it started, and then of course it moved to the rest of the world, and it came to India, I must say this, my friend would know, there used to be a Justice Krishna Iyer, who was a Supreme Court judge. And when the 2020 started in India, the comment he came out with in the press was, a noble game has been vandalized for the sake of money. That was his comment at the time. Anyway, having said that, I must say it definitely brought people back. And whatever happened in England happened in the rest of the world too. Even here, there's more enthusiasm, more this thing for the 2020 game than the Test cricket. But I only hope that in the future, Test cricket loses its complete importance and place for the 2020 game, because I think real cricket is played over the 5-day period. That's my view. Having said this, I would like to say that my favorite team in the IPL tournament is Chennai Super Kings. Not because it comes from where I belong, that of course is home for me, but you know, cricket is a gentleman's game, and it's meant to be played, the players are meant to be gentlemen. I choose Chennai Super Kings mainly because of Dhoni. He's sitting there, and I don't like to say this in front of him, I like it because of him. Not because of the cricket he plays, or his cricketing brain, or his the way but the manner in which he plays it on the field. He does not go strutting around the field. He does not go jumping 10 feet high. He does not make obscene gestures at people. In fact, it makes me very uncomfortable when I see some of that. And in some cases, or in many cases, I see gestures that are, you know, fisties and fingers and mocking at the batsman they got out. I think it's very unfair. I think it's very ungentlemanly, and it's not really cricket. That's not the way it should be played. And the one cricketer I find, or one of the few cricketers I find, who does not do any of that is my friend here, Dhoni. I appreciate that more. I know how successful he has been in leading his side and winning tournaments, but to play the game like cricket as it should be played matters to me more than actually what happens or what the results of the game. As I say, it's very important, and it was meant to be played like a gentleman. As you all know, the English language itself has termed, when somebody does something low down or mean, they would say, you're not playing cricket. That is the reputation of this game, and it should be kept that way. And I hope Dhoni would pass on this method, what he does, to other members of his team, I'm sure, and not only the team, all cricketers. And particularly, the younger people who watch these matches think that's the right thing to do. But it's not. And you're meant to play it fairly, without it's sportingly and in a manner that a gentleman should behave. So I hope the younger people will emulate him. I hope that future cricketers will follow. Yes, playing, fighting hard is important, but you don't have to throw gestures and ugly behavior on the field, which is very unlike cricket. Thank you very much, and I would like to say, long live Chennai Super Kings.
Thank you so much for that, Gopi sir. As his son said when he walked in as well, unbeaten on 95 and going strong. And thank you so much for being a part of today as well. Today is also a very special day because we get to take a moment to honor one of Tamil Nadu's finest exports. Thankfully, we've imported him back into CSK colors. So Ash, welcome back to yellow. But it's a man whose journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. His feats on the field with more than 700 international wickets, to the way he's gone about it, evolving as the game evolves, evolving faster than the game evolves quite often as well. And a man who will felicitate you. Before that though, Ash, of course he will have to say a few words, as we all know he will. Chika sir, I'm going to hand the mic over to you, because before you felicitate Ravichandran Ashwin, we'd like to hear a few words from you about Ash and about today as well. First speak and then felicitate. What comes naturally first?
This guy is confusing really, actually. Hi guys. I mean, all I can say is what? First, I'd like to now, hey, Harbour. Harbour calls me. Harbour is Bharat Raman, by the way. Harbour is a couple of years junior to me in school, and he thought he was a great all-rounder himself. And incidentally, Harbour was a good cricketer. And right from school days, his cricket competitiveness was fantastic. I mean, he used to play for a first division team called Grand Prix. And I remember Grand Prix once beat Alvapet CC. And I'll never forget the day. Where Shankar Day? Where you Shankar, all these guys are jumping. They beat Grand Prix. And because I was playing for Alvapet Cricket, I was the captain of Alvapet CC, and they beat our team. So Harbour was just jumping. And L. Swaram Krishnan that day played for Grand Prix. So Harbour was actually a cricket-loving, the entire family was a cricketing-loving family. His father, incidentally, was once upon a time my great fan. And in a round-table match, it so happened his son, Mohan Raman, took a deadly catch, getting Srikanth out. So for that, you know what, Mr. V.P. Raman, the late V.P. Raman, when he came to the match for the match, it's an inter-round-table match, he came and said, Yanda, yenna yeravida, na one catch padika paaka vanda, Srikanth batting paaka vandanda appadinaru. So that was Mr. V.P. Raman. That's the family they belong to, and his brother Raghu was also a good cricketer. And I didn't understand Harbour. And one day he called me and said, Chika, I'm telling you something. I'm not inviting you. I'm just informing you. You're going to be the head table on a such and such a date. I'm releasing a book. I didn't know what it was. I don't know what the book is all about. Then he says, I'm releasing a book on Chennai Super Kings, Untold Story. Man, when you talk about Chennai Super Kings, it's something fantastic. I would like to first and foremost, as Harbour rightly said in his speech, I'd like to thank Mr. N. Srinivasan first for buying this team for CSK, Chennai. And incidentally, Mr. M.S. Dhoni, I'm just two months senior to you in Chennai Super Kings, for your information. Because I'm the first brand ambassador, and then you became the captain. So I'm lucky that way, and I should thank Mr. N. Srinivasan for appointing me as the brand ambassador of Chennai Super Kings. And then Dhoni was appointed the captain. But you have to understand, Mr. N. Srinivasan had a lot of intelligence in appointing me as the brand ambassador. Because Michael Hussey, Stephen Fleming, and MS Dhoni, you wouldn't have watched me play. I could not play more than 20 overs at any given point of time anyway. beat 20, beat test cricket, beat one day cricket, beat any form of cricket. My maximum limit was 20 overs. So I was apt brand ambassador for Chennai Super Kings. And then comes MS Dhoni, and the rest is history. And you just imagine, dear guys, the way MS Dhoni is evolved this team and just brought this team along with Mike Hussey and, of course, Stephen Fleming. The first year, Stephen was a player, and then he became a player come coach, and then he was there. And Mike Hussey, I remember Mike Hussey is knocked 116 against Punjab, the opening match. Remember MS? What a knock he played at, Chandigarh, Mohali. And that was the opening game for Chennai Super Kings. So Mike Hussey, one of the greatest gentlemen, you can see he's sitting there. And of course, our good old friend Kasi. Kasi's been there for donkey's years. He's been with India Simmons for so many years. We played cricket, first division cricket, Kasi and myself. I know Kasi so well. So why I'm bringing Chennai Super Kings first is there's a lot of connection between Chennai Super Kings and Mr. R. Ashwin. That's the whole idea. R. Ashwin is a brilliant cricketer. Yes. Come on. Coming from Chennai, a guy plays 100 test matches, takes 500 wickets. Unheard of. Unheard of. Absolutely impossible. But then, yes, apart from Ashwin's fantastic day, well done Ashwin, you have brilliant talent, everything. But you have to understand something. It's got a lot of connections with, I'm sure Ashwin will agree with me and everybody will agree with me. It's got connection with Chennai Super Kings. It's the man who identified him as the greatest T20 bowler. Originally was who? The man sitting here, MS Dhoni. I'll never forget a few games. I think it was Punjab game, am I right, Dhoni? Or if it's or the Hyderabad game, when Adam Gilchrist was opening the. Huh? See, I tell you what, I don't prepare speeches. I just come to talk what I have in my mind. I don't know whether it's Adam Gilchrist or the Punjab game, one of the games. MS Dhoni gives the ball to Ashwin to open the bowling. And that was a deadly move. And from then we realized, man, here is the T20 world cricketer who's born. So what I like about Ashwin is a guy is evolved from T20 cricket to one-day cricket and to test cricket in an amazing manner. Fantastic Ashwin, simply outstanding. And he realized that he's not only a bowler, he can also be a good batsman. But I'll never forget Chris Gale. I have to say this in Tamil, MS, then I'll translate it in English. Machan, 4 ball machan, eduthiruva machan. Chris Gale could not know bat how to. Chris Gale can hammer anybody for sixes and fours. But he will say 4 balls, Ashwin will get him out. 4th ball, Chris Gale, that's it, gone. That's it, gone. 4th ball. Beats. How many times have you got him 4 balls? So, he must, how many times, Stephen? About 4 or 5 times? Sounds good, then. So, Chris Gale will hammer anybody, but when Ashwin comes to bowl, man, his legs start shaking. So, the guy who made Ashwin, I believe, is MS Dhoni. And then, it's very strange that there are a lot of connections between Chennai Super Kings and Ashwin because it so happens, Mr. N. Srinivasan, Srikanth, MS Dhoni, Ashwin, Chennai Super Kings. What more do you want, guys? Srikanth was the chairman incidentally that time. That's why I'm saying that. N. Srinivasan was the president that time. Captain was MS Dhoni. And all was a part of Chennai Super Kings. So what more do you want to tell me? You will get a champion who will get 500 wickets. You will get a champion who will play 100 test matches from Chennai. And that's R. Ashwin for you. And very strange, the 2 of the greatest cricketers from Tamil Nadu are both off spinners. Mr. S. Venkatraghavan is not here because he is my guru. Venki is my guru. S. Venkatraghavan, who is a former Indian cricket captain. And it so happens Tamil Nadu has produced only 2 captains. One is S. Venkatraghavan, who played 57 test matches. And he was the 4th, Dhoni just, I'm sure Mike Hussey, you might not know. There were the 4 quartet of spinners, for your information. Bedi, Prasanna, Venkatraghavan, Chandrasekhar. So Venkatraghavan belongs to the elite class of this 4 spin quartet. So Venkatraghavan was the captain. The next captain was Mr. K. Srikanth. And then comes Ashwin. Amazing Ashwin. Well done. Whatever you've done has been superb. Be it test cricket, be it one-day cricket, be it IPL, be it test, be it 2020 cricket. You've been outstanding in all formats. Well done to you. But it's all not thanks to you. It's thanks to your mother and thanks to your father, Asha Ravichandran, going to temples after temples when Ashwin is playing cricket. So I should really thank Ravichandran. Sorry. So all the best to you, Ashwin. Well done and enjoy yourself. But again, it says no, the prodigal son has come back once again. He started Chennai Super Kings, then he tried his places in Punjab, RR, BR, Delhi, Billy, everywhere. Okay. Then he goes one round and says, sorry boss, I'll come back home. Then Kasi says, okay, let me take him to Chennai Super Kings. Then Dhoni says, okay, he comes to Chennai Super Kings this year. Welcome back, the prodigal son. Good luck and God bless you.
We'd love for you guys to, Chika sir, please felicitate Ash as well. Before we hear a timely response, Ash, I think you need some time before a response. So good to get a felicitation before that. Now, Ash, I know you didn't want to speak on your own, so maybe we'll make this easier a little bit. He's not an easy man to follow up with an act, but how do you respond to that? Because he summed up your journey in about 5 seconds across all IPL teams you've played. We know it's a little harder than that, but how would you like to respond firstly?
I'm glad you mentioned it was an act. Because speech and act are two different things, so I can't follow up with that. It's very
Objection. Why do you mean speak and act?
Sir, so
Brilliant. Stephen. Brilliant. Shut up now.
sir, naila sir. Sir, anchor sir, aplomb, avonna act.
நான் ஏதோ சொல்லப்பா என்ன விட்டுருங்க.
So I mean, anyway, firstly, thank you so much, Chika sir. I saw a lot of familiar faces and I didn't know how to open up the crowd, and thankfully he's made it a real light one today. Sir, firstly, congratulations on the wonderfully written book. Look forward to reading it, and you mentioned about the file photos. That's where I want to start up first. You put a picture of MS Dhoni, class, outstanding. But if there ever was a picture, yet so close, yet so far, you should get Flem's pictures on the dugout. You should. Nobody has really done that, because as the game's happening, I've seen that when MS hit those winning runs against Punjab in Dharamshala, Flem was sitting at the right back. The right back corner is his place in the dugout, and his face is always giving you the feeling it's lost, but his hands are wide out open, telling you it's yet so close. That's exactly what Flem indicates, and I've seen him in that position for years together now. Glad to see you, Flem. Glad to once again mingle and play together. Huss is here. We've already chatted about batting. Huss knows a bit too much than I do. And everybody that's here, a lot of familiar faces. Some of them have already left, but anyway. Thank you for being here. It's such a wonderful morning. Chika sir mentioned about that game where MS had used me. I mean, I've spoken about it quite a bit. Sir, actually, welcome on board. I'm also an author. The game I vividly remember in 2010, I played a couple of games in South Africa, and we came back. I played the last game in Durban where we defended 119 odd. And the very next year I played, and MS was the skipper, and he had told me, those were the days of Facebook chats, and we had spoken on Facebook, and he said, I'm going to use you really well this year. So I went in, and quite bizarre that we played 2-3 games, and MS got injured at KKR. And I had also lost my form after that for a couple of games, and he came back into the squad. He came back after his injury, and I also made a comeback into the team. And my first initiation into bowling with the new ball happened in that particular game against Mumbai Indians in front of Sachin Tendulkar. A huge game. In that game, both gentlemen here had some vivid conversations. MS handed over the new ball, typically in his case, handed the new ball, shrugged his shoulders and left. MS did that, and you don't get many words from him, but Huss, I still remember, can you get Pollard out? And that was his first question. I said, obviously, I will try. And as luck would have, I was a bit jittery. I just bowled the ball slightly outside off. Two gentlemen are not here. Murli Vijay is not here, but Pollard skied it really high. Thilan Tushara, the Sri Lankan fast bowler, crossed. He was standing at long off, and he crossed all the way to take that catch. It was in the air, and Vijay crossed behind him. It was one of the most bizarre catches. You can go back and check it. it hit Tushara's hand. Vijay's eyes were closed and the ball fell into his hands. Right? It was one of the most bizarre. Do you have it on picture, sir? I think you should try and get it. You should try and get it. And for me, that's in a way all said and done. Yes, sir spoke about my journey, getting wickets. But there is a stroke of luck in everything that needs to happen. People need to get there at the right time, be at the right places. Destinations are not just reached just like that. You need to go through milestones. So for me, every single person, every single incident, even my responses to situations, my reactions, my learnings, have several times been in hindsight, but has definitely held me in good stead. And I, most importantly, come back today to CSK, not as a person who's achieved all those things, but as someone who's gone through the entire circle and wants to come back and enjoy the same moment that I enjoyed all those years ago. And it's a wonderful place to be. I called MS for my 100th test. To be honest, I invited him for my 100th test to hand over the memento, and it was in Dharamshala. I wanted to make that my last test. But he couldn't make it, but I didn't think he would hand over the gift of getting me back to CSK. It's a much better one. So thank you, MS, for doing it. I'm glad to be here. Last but not least, I wanted to speak about Bharatraman sir a bit. People who are fighting cases in the court, constantly coming in, doing the hard yards. I really do wonder, and I used to think you were smiling because you wanted to get away from all that you do in the court, sir. But after all these years, having seen you after games, and my initial reaction in 2010 and 2009 used to be you and Kasi sir were brothers. I used to think that because both of you had the same smile. I just cannot understand how people can be smiling all the time. And now I'm convinced that you can be. So that's probably going to be a goal for me to set for the future, to keep smiling despite all the difficult times that one goes through. I'm glad I could be here, and thank you so much, Chika sir. Sorry if you got offended by the act bit. That was him initiating it. So he initiated it.
I'm going back to Bombay tomorrow, but at least I'm safe.
But thank you so much. You really loosened everybody up here, so it's going to be a wonderful time. And Ani, thank you for being here and calling me senior. Hopefully we can meet after the IPL like we did last time, and have a good night. Anyway, thank you for felicitating me here. Thank you, guys.
As just one thing I want to ask you, and sorry you didn't get MS at your 100th test, you had to talk to me. I got a very low budget version after the match in Dharamshala, unfortunately. But just on CSK, right? I think, when you read the book, as I did, a lot of it is about the culture, the family atmosphere that CSK brings. Generally talking to everyone, and I caught up with Watto a few weeks ago, he said the same thing. He said, my time at other teams was so different, and even though my career was at a low, when I came into CSK, it changed because of the security that I felt. Just touch upon that, because as we've heard, you played for RR, BR, CR and PB, but just tell us a little bit about the difference in culture when you come back to this dressing room.
See, today's way of reporting and media has been very different. So this RRBR bit could well be collided with me. So I'm saying...
he did not say it. Just putting that on record.
Okay. So I personally enjoyed going around the field a bit. This morning I was having a conversation before coming here at home with my dad, and Ravichandran is not here. So we were having this conversation on how it was nice to just go around and also get a flavor of what it is like everywhere. You learn a lot. But one thing that really stands out that I can conveniently say is CSK has remained a team that's evolved, at the same time remained very archaic. Okay, and when a lot of people use archaic in a way to experience and give you an insight into the past. But when I say archaic, today is the world of cricket corporatization, all right? And we have people who run it as, of course it needs to be. Nobody runs a business to make a loss. I understand that, but things have evolved and come through a long way. And teams have changed so much on parlance to say, I'll keep the business side separately, cricket side separately. But having come here again, I do realize it's not changed one bit. In fact, it's actually, I left in 2015, it feels like it's 2011 again. So the fact is, it is organically cricket still. And the best way to run a cricket team and find success in a team is to keep it cricket oriented, which I have no doubts about.
It's fantastic. So it hasn't changed after... clearly hasn't changed after the 48,000 crore media rights deal that is also in the book and written about as well, and that's always good to hear. But Ash, thank you so much for all your words. We do want to hand over a few tokens of appreciation as well. I'd like to please welcome up on stage Mrs. Padmani Raman and also Gitanjali Selvaraghavan to please come up on stage. And as a token of appreciation, first up, may I please request Mr. C.D. Gopinath to also present Miss Sandhya Sridhar, the editor of the book, with her memento. Sandhya, coincidentally, was also the editor of Mr. Raman's first book, The Man Who Would Not Be King. A huge round of applause, please, for Sandhya Sridhar. May I please request Anirudh to present a memento to Akash from Notion Press, the publishers of Leo the Untold Story. Thank you, Akash, and congratulations. May I please request Mrs. Padmani Raman to present a memento to Gopi sir and to Chika sir as well on this fabulous occasion. And may I please request Gitanjali and Padmayati to present Ashwin and Ani with their mementos as well. MS, thank you so much for being here, and a lovely memento to MS as well on this wonderful occasion. And with that done, we finally would like to bring this wonderful afternoon to a close. I'd like to invite Gautam Raman, advocate and the son of our esteemed author, to deliver a vote of thanks to everyone here today. Gautam, over to you.
On behalf of my father, Mr. P.S. Raman, and my family, we thank all of you for taking time to be with us today. We thank Mr. C.D. Gopinath for launching the first copy of the book, Mr. K. Srikanth for felicitating the first copy of the book, Mr. Ravichandran Ashwin for having consented to come and be felicitated. I'm sorry, I said first copy of the book. I meant Mr. Srikanth felicitating Mr. Ashwin. Mr. Anirudh for receiving the first copy of the book. Mr. Suhail Chandok for having excellently curated this event. We thank all of Mr. Raman's friends and well-wishers who have come today, taking the time on a Sunday morning to be with our family on this important occasion. On behalf of my father, I would like to thank Ms. Sandhya Sridhar for having once again taken up the job as editor. We thank Notion Press and its team for having done an excellent publication. Equally, our thanks are due to Mr. Sujit and Mr. Sai of Point S and PSN for wonderfully managing today's event. We will be failing in our duty if we don't place my father's sincere appreciation for the efforts put by Dr. Baba and Mr. Hari Balagopal of TNCA for having organized an excellent press conference on 13th March as a prelude for this event. We would like to thank the print and visual media for an excellent coverage of the press conference and hopefully for today's event as well. Finally, a word of thanks to the welcome group for the excellent arrangements made today. On behalf of my family, I invite all of you to stay back and join us for lunch at the adjoining hall. Thank you all once again.
Thanks, Gautam. Also, just a word.
Last night I sat and signed about 150, 200 copies of the book. So anybody's wanting to pick up the book, it's available outside. Thank you. Thank you all.